Ethan, if you find this, I know I can't expect anything from you. Not after what happened, after what I did. But I just want you to know that wasn't me. I don't know what happened. There's so much that you need to know.
There you are! You gave us quite a scare, young lady.
Mia Winters is one of the most important characters to the events of the game Resident Evil 7 BioHazard. Not only is Mia the wife of protagonist Ethan Winters, but she's also an important player in the events that led up to Evelin's infestation of the Baker family home to begin with. Mia is an operative for the organization known as the Connections, a profession which she hid from her spouse Ethan. It's also thanks to this profession that Mia would come to meet a young girl named Evelyn on a mission that would see her separated from her husband for 3 years.
You said we could be a family.
What are you talking about?
You said!
Wait!
I'm tired of waiting.
The story of Mia Winters as we know it begins with her affiliation with the crime syndicate known as the Connections. While we don't know all that much about her affiliation with this organization, we do know that she would come into their employ sometime in 2010, working as a researcher, no doubt in the biochemical development sector of the organization. As for what exactly that position entailed, it's difficult to say, as that part of her life was kept secret from even her soon-to-be husband, Ethan. Ethan Winters would marry Mia a year after she'd signed up with the Connections, their relationship being built off the back of a lie as to Mia's underworld connections. Mia told Ethan only vague details of her job, describing this job as merely working at a trading company, a falsity that would hinder the couple's relationship for years, putting massive strain on their marriage as Mia would frequently go on extended business trips to foreign countries, leaving long periods of time where she would be away from home and away from Ethan. This absence weighed heavily on Ethan, and it sowed distrust into the relationship, Ethan questioning what it was that she was really doing on these extended trips. Yet, despite this, the couple still loved each other, and seemingly kept correspondence even as Mia was away. That is, until October of 2014, when Mia would take on a new mission from the Connections, a mission to escort a highly dangerous BOW named E001, or Evelyn, from a European research facility to Central America, a mission that would go horribly, horribly wrong.
Are you mad at me, Mommy?
No, Evie, I'm not mad. Wait, what did you call me?
I don't want to live at the lab anymore. I want a house, and I want you to be my mommy.
Okay, Evie. I'll be your mommy. Just come back with me, right now, okay?
In 2014, Mia would tell Ethan that she was taking on a babysitting job, which would call her away from home on business yet again. In reality, the Connections had assigned Mia to work with another operative named Alan Droney in transporting a highly volatile BOW, this BOW being none other than Evelyn. The pair were to take on the role of Evelyn's parental guardians on a cargo ship known as the Annabelle, playing up these roles to avoid suspicion among the crew. Unfortunately, despite the best efforts of Mia and Alan, an unforeseen hurricane would bring their mission to a screeching halt and would see the E001 bioweapon become unstable. During the storm, Evelyn would attack Alan, freeing herself from her faux parents. And with this newfound freedom, she began infecting the crew, who would be used as biofuel for the molded. Mia chased Evelyn around the ship, attempting to put a stop to the chaos that she was causing, but to no avail. During the pursuit, it became obvious to Mia that Evelyn had embraced her as her true mother, a role which would soon be forced onto her as Evelyn would infect Mia shortly after brutally killing her faux father, Alan Droney. Realizing the severity of her situation, as the hurricane continued to batter the ship, and Evelin's mold now infesting her mind, Mia attempted to get one last message out to her true husband, Ethan, confirming his suspicions that she had been lying about her job, telling him that he should forget about her, and finally telling him to have a good life.
Ethan. You were right. I did lie to you. I shouldn't have. All I can say is that if you get this, stay away. Forget that you ever knew me. Have a good life.
With her final message recorded, Mia continued her search for Evelin, finding her just as the hurricane ripped the ship to pieces and threw Mia into the wreckage. Somehow, Mia survived the storm, unconsciously laying among the debris which had washed up in a bayou in Dolby, Louisiana. No doubt exhausted from her adventures on the Annabelle and the infection of Evelin's mold that now coursed through her body, Mia lay amid the debris for quite some time, until eventually she was found by a man named Jack Baker. Jack brought Mia back to his home, rescuing her from the wreckage of the tanker and placing her in his daughter Zoe's trailer to rest. While in this trailer, Mia drifted in and out of consciousness, but attempted to write a note thanking the Bakers for their kindness and warning them of the E-Series bioweapon, Evelin. Unfortunately, by the time the note was finished, it was too late. Jack had recovered the mysterious little girl from the wreckage, and with her came a nightmare that would plague the Baker's house for the next 3 years. Over the course of those 3 years, Mia would struggle to hold back Evelin's influence on her mind, sometimes being almost completely subservient to Evelin's wishes, and other times being almost entirely cognizant of her predicament. Sometimes she would lash out at the members of the Baker family, or attempt to escape, which eventually led to Lucas locking her up in a cell beneath the family's guest house, a location which would become Mia's room for the next 2 years, until one day, Mia's estranged husband showed up in search of his lost wife.
It's Mia. She's not dead, she's alive. She's back.
They found her? How? What happened?
I don't know. Look, I don't know how, but she's back. She's back somehow. Maybe it's a prank, but she wants me to come and get her.
Where is she?
Dolby, Louisiana.
In July of 2017, Ethan would receive a cryptic email from his wife telling him to come get her from the Baker family's farm in Dolby, Louisiana, an opportunity which he pounced on right away. We don't know whether or not it was truly Mia who sent the email, perhaps under Evelin's influence, but regardless, it wasn't long before he'd arrived in Dolby and found his wife tucked away in a jail cell. Ethan managed to free his wife, but it was obvious that something was wrong. Mia was paranoid, unable to recall the email that she'd supposedly sent, her mind and personality a shell of its former self. No doubt the result of being Evelin's puppet for the past 3 years. And as the couple made their way back to the surface level of the guest house, Mia brutally attacked her estranged husband, unable to hold back Evelin's influence from invading her thoughts. Despite these damages, however, Ethan continued to follow his wife, confused at her sudden ability to regenerate from the heavy wounds that he too had dealt her. The pair eventually meeting in the attic, where, armed with a chainsaw, Mia attacked Ethan again. And with no other options, Ethan defended himself with a firearm before they were both dragged to the main house of the Bakers to make Ethan a permanent member of the family.
Welcome to the family, son.
Throughout the course of the game, Mia struggles with who exactly she is and what's going on, her confusion likely being a byproduct of Evelin's mold clouding her mind. She remembers Ethan, but the events that led up to her captivity and the minor details about what she's been doing for these past 3 years have been lost to her. She spends the majority of her time attempting to escape the members of the Baker family and make her way back to her husband. First being captured by Marguerite and then Lucas, as Ethan attempts to track her down and find a way to free her from Evelin's influence. Thanks to Zoe, Ethan does manage to find a cure. However, the limited doses means that a choice has to be made between Mia and Zoe as to who he will free from Evelin's captivity. Of course, Ethan chooses Mia, and the two escape via a small boat, riding through the swamps of Dulvey until they happen upon the same ship that caused Mia to arrive here in the first place. Upon their approach of the ship, the two are attacked by Evelin, with Ethan getting knocked unconscious, dragged into the bowels of the Annabelle, and leaving Mia to search for him. This search results in Mia remembering what led to her arrival at the Baker family home to begin with. And as Evelin attempts to regain control of her supposed mother, Mia fights back her influence to make it back to Ethan. Mia manages to save her husband from the mold, shoving him out of the room where Evelin was holding him and giving him a way to defeat this E-Series bioweapon. After the couple were separated, Mia was left in the ruins of the Annabelle, presumably continuing to fight off Evelin's influence and her mold manifestations as Ethan attempted to find a way to stop her. Luckily for Mia, despite being separated from the man who had saved her in a life of captivity, there were others in the bayous of Dulvey that day. And so, with the help of her beloved husband, and the aid of an organization known as Blue Umbrella, Mia was rescued from the swamps of Dulvey, Louisiana, and from the mental hell that her supposed daughter had forced on her.
Ethan?
Mia. You made it. I'm glad.
Did I?